Our psalm today, Psalm 74, is a community lament of the Jewish people traditionally associated with the utter defeat by the Babylonian Empire. This is when the first temple in Jerusalem was destroyed and the people were carried off into exile. Why has God turned against his people? Asaph wonders. God had promised Israel long ago that they would be his covenant people, but they had failed to live according to this covenant. They replaced God with idols and gave priority to their own desires. Well, now the temple is destroyed and even the prophets are gone. Could the God who created the world and all that is in it not have acted to save them? How long must the enemies of God hold sway? Why did God hold back his right hand? Well, many years later, as the disciples watched the Messiah of Israel nailed to the cross and that temple destroyed, well, they must have wondered the same thing. Why did God hold back his right hand? It is precisely through the experience of exile that God's people were reminded of God's eternal presence and unbreakable promise. And it is precisely through the cross that death is defeated, Jesus is raised, and the Spirit of God is given to the church. We may still wonder why God seems to hold back his hand, but on this day of Pentecost we are reminded that the church is empowered to be God's hand. God does not reject his people. He has chosen us to be his people, and he dwells with us, not in temples of stone, but in us, that we may praise his name. Psalm 74, a maskil of Asaph. O God, why have you rejected us forever? Why does your anger smolder against the sheep of your pasture? Remember the nation you purchased long ago, the people of your inheritance, whom you redeemed, Mount Zion, where you dwelt. Turn your steps towards these everlasting ruins, all this destruction the enemy has brought on the sanctuary. Your foes roared in the place where you met with us. They set up their standards as signs. They behaved like men wielding axes to cut through a thicket of trees. They smashed all the carved panelling with their axes and hatchets. They burned your sanctuary to the ground. They defiled the dwelling place of your name. They said in their hearts, "We will crush them completely." They burned every place where God was worshipped in the land. We are given no signs from God. No prophets are left, and none of us knows how long this will be. How long will the enemy mock you, God? Will the foe revile your name forever? Why do you hold back your hand, your right hand? Take it from the folds of your garment and destroy them. But God is my King from long ago. He brings salvation on the earth. It was you who split open the sea by your power. You broke the heads of the monster in the waters. It was you who crushed the heads of Leviathan and gave it as food to the creatures of the desert. It was you who opened up springs and streams. You dried up the ever-flowing rivers. The day is yours, and yours also the night. You established the sun and moon. It was you who set all the boundaries of the earth. You made both summer and winter. Remember how the enemy has mocked you, Lord, how foolish people have reviled your name. Do not hand over the life of your dove to wild beasts. Do not forget the lives of your afflicted people forever. Have regard for your covenant because haunts of violence fill the dark places of the land. Do not let the oppressed retreat in disgrace. May the poor and needy praise your name. Rise up, O God, and defend your cause. Remember how fools mock you all day long. Do not ignore the clamour of your adversaries, the uproar of your enemies, which rises continually. A prayer for today. God of faithfulness, even when we feel that we have been forgotten and cry out to you, yet you do not forget your promise or your love. You teach us patience through days of trouble and turn defeat into victory through your Son, our Saviour, Jesus Christ. Renew your Spirit to us once more and lead us in service, that our hands may be yours and our lips full of praise. Amen.